games and stuff. I don't know what this is going to be in SDA timing though, because that's actually going to start when after I finish naming Aya, not when I mean, I just decided to start the timer after I confirmed starting the game, just because that's pretty much the closest equivalent to selecting new game for this category. I've never actually been to New York City myself, so I actually don't know what the Statue of Liberty... Well, I've seen pictures of the Statue of Liberty, but I've never been there. Hey, quiet man. Yeah, that is one perk of the Japanese RTA timing method. That well, figuring out when to start is pretty easy. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know about figuring out when to end being easier too, because deciding when the end screen appears is kind of I don't know. I think it's just as arbitrary as deciding when the final boss starts to die. $138. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't think under 20 minutes by using that to time is possible, though. Hey, Slice. Yep, it's the fun gun and the plot armor, because when in basically if you play the game normally, when you get to day 6, you can name a weapon and armor when you talk to Wayne before you fight the final boss, and what weapon and armor you name or what you get to carry over into New Game Plus. The record is 22-22. No one else has done a run of this category as far as I know, so I guess I have the record. Yes, all of the improvements you've made to your weapon and armor carry over. The fun gun has 999 bonus points in attack power and a lot in range and bullet capacity too. Well, what I was doing was I was menuing the bonus points into my active time stat, Aya's stats do not carry over because you start at level 1. So the only boosting I do as part of the New Game Plus run is to max out my active time stat, so that basically it doesn't matter for the first 7 battles whether I get first strike or not, because my ATB bar fills so fast. And then for True Eve, it basically ensures that that by the time I finish actually shooting all of the shots I get returned, my bar is full again. Yeah, nanomachine son, this can be, or in this case, mitochondria son slash daughter can be kind of the plot synopsis. I don't know if there's actually words to this opera, though. I don't know if it's based on a real-life opera or if it's just something that Yoko Shimomura made up. Wyvern. Best enemy name ever. Anyone doesn't know what a wyvern is, it's PlayStation Final Fantasy V's translation of wyvern or wyvern. Yep, Yoko Shimomura has actually been writing game soundtracks since the 90s. I think the first soundtrack that she had a significant role in was Street Fighter 2, followed by Super Mario RPG. She's best known for the Kingdom Hearts series, though. Does the Franker Z train do repeat visits on the same day, though? I think the last time that the Franker Z train was a thing, some of the people in it actually managed to get IP banned by Twitch. I'd send them to Sneaky if he was still awake. He would need help staying awake. Oh, do you live in Europe, Ellison? Because unfortunately this game never got released in Europe. Oh, hope you enjoy Quiet Man. If anyone's liking what they're seeing, this kind of very short version of the game, you can get it. You can get the discs for it fairly cheaply. It's not a very pricey game. You can also download it on the PS2 or PSP for like $5 or so. Yeah, I mean, if you're more a fan of Resident Evil games than action RPGs, you would probably like Parasite Eve 2 better, just because it plays a lot like an RE game with supernatural abilities. I'm more a fan of action RPGs, so I like this game better, but I firmly believe that everybody's entitled to their own taste in games. I'm not familiar with the game D. Oh cool, Super Gamer. How long is a PE2 speedrun anyway? I've seen some people post on SDA forum about speedrun strats for PE2, but I've never actually seen one. At least not a single segment one. I think I saw some videos. It was segmented PE2 run a couple of years ago. That poor piano. What did the piano ever do to deserve that kind of abuse? Yeah, this is actually kind of a tough boss for being so early in the game, just because your the kind of equipment you have access to just in Carnegie Hall isn't really that hot. And if you're not really used to the combat system yet, it's kind of... Eve 2 is actually kind of difficult. If you mean who did the routing for this category, basically me, with some help from Carcinogen. For the full game run, the route I use is mostly based on a tool-assisted run I found a few years ago. I changed some stuff to make it doable on console. Yeah, I mean, maybe after like another 2 attempts or so, I'll play through day 1 on new game mode, just so you can see how different this mode is compared to new game. I don't really feel like doing a full new game run tonight though, but maybe next weekend. Story behind this game is that mitochondria are parasites that want to take over the world. Mitochondria being components of cells and living things that generate energy. Full game runs about 3.5 hours. I have not seen the PE movie. There was a Japanese... I mean, this game is basically the sequel to a Japanese horror novel, which was adapted into a movie in Japan, too. I have neither seen the movie nor read the novel, though. I think Parasite Eve movie was released in the U.S. though, at least in Japanese with English subtitles. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this game is a sequel to the book/movie, because I mean the book takes place in Japan and then the game is in New York City. If you play the full game, then Maeda, the Japanese scientist that you meet about a third of the way through the game, actually kind of tells you the backstory of the movie. Yeah, Maeda and his trinkets. Although the whole point of those trinkets is just a plot device in order to make you reserve a slot in your inventory for Maeda's gun that you need in order to play the ultimate game. How is did Sneaky wake up, or I don't see him on the SDA page. Yay! 2 in a row. So if anyone's just tuned in, that's a 50% odds, as I understand it, between killing the croc in one shot and triggering it going into its second phase, which wastes about 8 to 10 seconds or so. Yeah, Daniel slugging the reporter. Well, the like 98% probably of the work behind this run just came from setting up the New Game Plus file, because of actually having to build the fun gun and plot armor, which took 13 playthroughs through the game. I didn't do all of 13 of them myself, though. A friend of mine called Carcinogen did probably 11 of them. There's a little bit of RNG, like that crocodile boss is kind of the first source of RNG in this run, just because, like I said a few minutes ago, if I shoot the tail instead of the body, which is a 50% odds, then I waste some time because the game switches the croc into its second phase. Then the only other source of RNG is the final boss, just because what she does can affect my time a bit. Yeah, enemies get more HP in New Game Plus. So if you just do one New Game Plus playthrough, starting from your finished new game, it's still fairly challenging, just because even though you have an end game weapon and armor from your first playthrough, the enemies are upscaled a bit, and if you do the Chrysler building without having like ridiculously overpowered equipment like I do, there's some really difficult bosses in the Chrysler building. Most of them are basically just upgraded versions of bosses from the normal game, but there's like 2 unique bosses in the Chrysler building, I think. I think there's a giant cockroach or something like that that's unique to just the Chrysler building. Yeah, the cyanide weapon and that I think you can only get in the Chrysler building is really good for the Chrysler building, because it gives you some odds of just being able to insta-kill stuff. I don't actually have it just because it's useless against True Eve, and everything else in this run dies in one shot. There's quite a few weapons that are only available in the Chrysler building, too. The Chrysler building has a lot of randomness in it, too, which is why, like, actually doing a Chrysler building run I don't think would be much fun. I think in a lot of ways it would kind of be like a Lufia 2 Ancient Cave run. Hold on a second, let me do this menuing and then I'll get caught up on chat. Okay, so the reason why I have the random ability, even though it makes me have to reset on the croc sometimes, is because the random ability gives me 50% more shots per turn without reducing the amount of damage each shot does. So I think that's definitely, I mean, that saves several turns on True Eve. Yeah, there's several people I know that do Lufia 2 Ancient Cave runs. Yeah, True Eve is really hard too if you if you just did one New Game Plus playthrough. Some of her attacks are ridiculous. Okay, try to remember what floor I'm on this time. Alright, this should be the last one. Yeah, this will probably be sub 2220 unless I get really unlucky on True Eve. I think there's really only 2 turns she gets where she might do something that can slow down the fight. This is 2215. I think it's definitely going to be to earn then. Because I had like one fight when I was practicing where True Eve did basically literally nothing other than float around. I probably got really lucky with crits too. Alright, here we go. I hadn't selected that. I think I do want to try to push this to 2215 though, because I mean, it took an extra turn or so. I mean, that still wasn't that great of a fight, just because she used her paralysis attack, which didn't actually paralyze me because I had a paralysis cure in my inventory, and she also healed herself too. And like I said, I had a test fight where she did basically nothing other than just float around. But hey, new PBs, new PB. I guess every time I get a new PB, I'll still let the ending play just so I have a complete recording in case I do decide I want to submit this. But I think after this, I'll actually just do a new game playthrough day 1, just so anyone that's not familiar with the game can see what how it normally works. I'm not really interested in PE2 speedrunning. It's a fine game, but I just don't really like the controls and battle system enough to want to speedrun it. The next the next new games that I want to learn that I don't already run are Final Fantasy IV, Soul Blazer, Terranigma, and Final Fantasy VIII. Probably in that order. Well, no, Disc 2 has the museum and the final boss on it, basically. The regular final boss, the ultimate being. Yeah, I use a Dazzle 100 for my stream. Yes, actually, I want to. In fact, I think I'd probably want to do Chrono Trigger before FF8. Hey, Hailstorm. I mean, I've got a list of games I'm interested in speedrunning on my Twitch page too. I think I already said most of them though. Yeah, the normal final boss is a baby, literally, at least for its first form. So I'm pretty happy with my execution in that run. I think my menuing probably could have been like a second or two faster, but I think the only thing that really could have gone better in that run was True, as far as her not healing herself. Even if she used her paralysis attack, if she hadn't healed herself, then then that still would have been a couple seconds faster. Well, yeah, I mean, FF8 looks like a really easy speedrun, at least until you get to Ultimecia, but it's also a very long game that has a lot of, like, menuing and story triggers to learn. Like, Eminon, the Japanese player that has the record at FF8 right now, has, like, there's basically a literally 5-minute long menuing segment, in Esthar before you get onto the Lunatic Pandora, and just watching him do that menuing is just so eye-popping as far as just how he flies through it. Yeah, I'll do a few more attempts. I think after this I'm gonna do a regular playthrough of just day one, so you can see how how this game is supposed to work. Yep, you're not really expected to be able to beat True Eve before you get to day 5, which is when you, well, midway through day 5 is when you swap discs. So they put the ending on disc 2. Although the full Chrysler building is on disc 1, just because you can get to the Chrysler building as soon as you can get to the map. I mean, I could theoretically go to, after I gain control of Aya in the police station, I could just leave and go to the Chrysler building, but in order to get the key that lets me get to the top floor, I have to get through the tutorial with the item locker. Yeah. Yeah, finishing a run of FF8 doesn't really look that hard, although beating Ultimecia looks like it would take a bit of work. But I mean, I'm guessing if I was a new player, I could probably make it easier just by reducing the battle speed before going in. I think the Cerberus, I want to say, is the kind of the only other boss that's somewhat challenging in FF8. How about this music too, by the way? Wasn't here for the other run I finished. This is the highlight of this game's soundtrack, if you ask me. That is the turnoff for running FF8, like for going for serious PBs, though, is just that it's got a lot of RNG in order to get a run going. Just because you have to get fish fins, which are random drops, then you have to get the Quistis, and depending on your route, Zell cards. So just getting past the first hour and a half of FF8 is, without losing time from RNG, is pretty difficult. Right now, I am not interested in speedrunning Parasite Eve 2 right now, just because I don't enjoy the game's battle system enough. But I think there was somebody in my chat a while ago that said he or she had done runs of PE2, so I don't know if he or she has a stream. Kool-Aid, that would be because, hey, words and music by Yoko Shimomura right there. That's who, that's the same composer as the Kingdom Hearts series, in fact. Perfect timing, too, for asking about the soundtrack. And yeah, Final Fantasy IV, yeah, like Brosentius said, how long it takes depends on whether what kind of glitches you're using. If you're doing a maximum glitch run where you're using a glitch called the 64 layer glitch, it's a little over 2 hours. If you're doing a full game run, then it would probably be about 3.5 to 3:45 for a really good run. And that also depends on how many glitches you use, because getting under 3.5 hours is pretty much only possible if you use a glitch that lets you get some really overpowered weapons really early in the game. Okay, hold on. Okay, I just turned up my mic a little bit. I mean, people were saying earlier that it was okay, but I guess the credits music is louder. The 64 layer glitch was discovered by the task community, tool-assisted speedrunning. That's where a lot of glitches are discovered, because that's where you're hacking the game, basically.